Hello everyone, my name is Satish Kumar RN from Chemistry Department. In the last class, we discussed about alcohols, how alcohols can be classified and how these alcohols undergo some reactions. Let us continue with that. In the previous class, we tried to understand how these alcohols can be classified to primary, secondary and tertiary, how we can identify them using Victor-Meyer's method as well as oxidation method. And we also try to understand how these alcohols can be interconverted. That means how we can convert primary alcohol into secondary, primary into tertiary and primary to secondary, secondary to tertiary. So we try to understand all these sequences. Today we will try to understand one more concept, that is dehydration of alcohols. Dehydration of alcohols. What do you mean by dehydration? Dehydration, the word itself is telling us that we are going to remove water. D in organic chemistry means that it is removal, hydration means it is water in this case. So we are just trying to remove water molecule from alcohols. Let us try to understand how these things happen. Let us say, for example, we'll take methyl alcohol like this. Now, dehydration, in order for the dehydration to occur, dehydration is nothing but elimination reaction. In order to elimination to occur, we need a beta carbon atom and beta hydrogen atom. But in this case, we are having only one carbon atom, so the elimination is not possible in this case. So you cannot dehydrate this molecule. Okay. So let us take another example here. Say for example, we take ethyl alcohol. CH. Now in this case, we have a beta carbon atom and beta hydrogen, so we can eliminate it. Let me write here. If I add small amount of acid, then it undergoes dehydration to give ethene molecule. So what has actually happened here? I'll write. See. I can write the same molecule in this way. What has happened? Hydrogen from beta carbon, hydroxyl group from this carbon has been removed with the formation of a new pi bond. That is what taken place here. We have got alkene. So if you dehydrate alcohol, you are going to get alkenes. Okay? So this is the simplest example what we can possibly give. Now what is our aim? Our aim is to understand how these dehydration can occur in primary, secondary and tertiary, and what is the rate in which alcohols the dehydration can take place more quickly when compared to the rate of the reaction is more fast in which type of alcohol. Okay, how the nature of alcohol can affect the rate of the dehydration process we have to understand. So that is about primary alcohol. Let us go for secondary alcohol here, secondary alcohols. Now, secondary alcohols, we know that in secondary alcohols, the hydroxyl group will be attached to secondary carbon atom. The example would be this isopropyl alcohol. Now, this isopropyl alcohol, if it has to undergo dehydration, means there are two possibilities. Either carbon number 1, this carbon can donate hydrogen, or the hydrogen can be eliminated from this carbon or from this carbon. We already know that dehydration process means hydrogen will be eliminated from beta carbon and hydroxyl group be eliminated from the alpha carbon atom. So since two beta hydrogens are there, any one hydrogen can be abstracted. But since the molecule is symmetrical, doesn't matter whether the base doesn't matter whether the removal of proton takes place from this carbon or from this carbon, you are going to get the same product. So if I say for example H plus, it undergoes dehydration. Since we are not discussing about the mechanism, we try to understand that the water is being eliminated, hydrogen from this carbon and OH from this alpha carbon atom. For information, I am telling you, alpha carbon means the one which bears the functional group, beta is the one which is next to it. So what happens? You are going to get CH3, CH double bond CH2. This is propene. So as I said, in case of symmetrical molecule, you are only going to get one type of product like this. But what happens in case of unsymmetrical alcohol? Suppose CH3. This is called 2-butanol or butane 2-ol. So in this compound, this is alpha carbon atom, which is bearing function, that is hydroxyl group, and we have beta 2 here and beta 1 here. Say, let's say for example, this is beta 1, this is beta 2. There are 2 beta hydrogen atoms are there. So probably you are going to get 2 products. Definitely you are going to get, not probably, definitely you are going to get 2 products. But one of the product will be formed in maximum quantity, that is will be the major product, and the other will be minor. How do we determine the major and minor product here? Let us say for example you are adding H plus and we are removing water. So there are 2 possibilities, as I said. I am writing it here. Just for sake of understanding, I am trying to split this molecule. Okay, this is CH2. CH2 here, not CH. Okay. Now in this case, as I said, either you can remove water like this or you can remove water like this. The 2 possibilities are there. But we already know that the dehydrohalogenation, in doing the study of dehydrohalogenation, we have already studied that such type of, if any compound has to undergo dehydration having more than 1 beta hydrogen atom, then the elimination takes place according to Sedzeff rule. Sedzeff rule says that elimination takes place in such a way that the more substituted alkene will predominate. In this case, 2 products will be formed, CH3, CH double bond CH, CH3. That means if the elimination takes place from beta 2 to alpha and beta 2, if elimination takes place between these 2 carbon, double bond will be formed between these 2 carbon. Then this product will be formed. If elimination takes place between these 2 carbon, beta 1 and alpha, this is beta alpha and beta 2. If elimination takes place between alpha and beta 1, between these 2, then you get CH2 double bond CH, CH2, CH3. That is, this is alpha and beta 1. Now as I said earlier, the elimination governs the Sedzeff rule. Sedzeff rule says that the most substituted alkene predominates. If this is the alkene, we have 2 alkyls substituted here. But here, this is the alkene. There is alkyl substituted on only one of the carbon. The other carbon contains only hydrogen atom. So it has no substitution here. So this will not be formed, or if it is formed, it will be in less quantity. So we can say that this is the major product and this is the minor product. So that is how we understand. So in secondary alcohol, the dehydration can, if the secondary alcohol is symmetrical, you are only going to get 1 alkene. If the secondary alcohol is unsymmetrical, then you are going to get 2 different alkenes, where one of the alkene is major, which is depending on the Sedzeff rule. Now let us go to tertiary alcohol. Let us go to tertiary alcohol. Let's say for example, we take this one, that is tertiary butyl alcohol. We have CH3 here, CH3 here, CH3 here. And if this undergoes dehydration under mild acidic condition, minus H2O, we are going to get, see, this is the alpha carbon atom which is bearing the hydroxyl group. This is beta 1, this is beta 2, this is beta 3. There are 3 beta hydrogen atoms are there. That means 3 different beta hydrogens are there. Since the molecule is same, because all the groups are same, doesn't matter from which carbon you remove hydrogen, you are going to get the same product. So what we are going to do? We are going to remove hydrogen from this carbon, OH from this carbon, and we put double bond here. So you are going to get CH3 as it is, CH3 as it is here. If you write like this, it is like this. You are going to remove this water molecule. That is, hydroxyl group from alpha carbon and hydrogen from beta carbon. Okay, so that means you are removing H2O. You are going to get CH3C double bond CH2 CH3. You are going to get isobutene. Okay, that means once you remove this bond, means there will be a new pi bond will be formed here. Okay, now you are going to get isobutene or 2-methyl propene. That is what we are going to get, the isobutene. Now, once again, if you take unsymmetrical like this, let us say for example, instead of this one, you have like this compound like this, and that means alcohol here. If you have this compound, that means 1, 2, 3, 4. That is 2-methyl butane to all. 2-methyl butane to all. We have this compound. Just compare these two compounds. In this compound, this molecule is symmetrical. Doesn't matter which hydrogen you are choosing, you are going to get the same product. But in this case, once again, since it is unsymmetrical in nature, and that means the compound is not symmetrical, the groups attached are different, you have to follow Setzer rule. We also know that Setzer rule can be stated in other ways. During the dehydration process, elimination takes place in such a way that more substituted alkenes predominate. That is the one statement. Or else, the hydrogen will be eliminated from the beta carbon containing less number of hydrogen. That is very important. Okay. So if you carefully look here, this is beta 1, this is beta 2, this is beta 3. Let us assume like that. In this case, all the beta carbon having 3 hydrogens, 3 here, CH3 here. So doesn't matter which one you will choose, same compound will be formed. But in this case, beta 1 contains 2 hydrogen, beta 2 contains 3, beta 3 contains 3. So Setzer rule says that hydrogen will be extracted from the carbon containing less number of or least number of hydrogen. In this case, these two are 3, this is 2. So hydrogen will be abstracted from this beta, that is beta 1. That will be the major product. So you may get different products. So the two products, but I'll write both of them. You are adding H plus, you are removing water, you are going to get CH3. This is the one, so see, hydrogen from here, OH from here. So you remove water molecule, this is the one possibility. And the second possibility will be, you can remove hydrogen from any of these two carbon atoms because these two are same. So what you are going to get? CH2 double bond C, CH2, CH3, CH3. This will be minor, this will be major. Don't forget, I am telling you once again, the most substituted alkene predominates. In this alkene, see, for this alkene, there is one methyl substituent here, 2 methyl substituent on the other carbon atom. But for this compound, 2 alkyl substituent on one of the carbon, but other carbon contains no substitution. So the most substituted alkene predominates. So that's about dehydration in tertiary alcohol. Then how do we write the order? That is very important. The rate order will be tertiary greater than secondary greater than primary. This is the order. That means the tertiary alcohols undergoes dehydration faster than secondary, and which is in turn faster than primary. That is how we are going to understand. Now, what is the reason behind this order is the carbocation, the formation of carbocation. See, we are not trying to understand the mechanism. In the upcoming classes, maybe in the other semesters, you may study the mechanism of this reaction. Or else in the previous PUC, you have already studied the mechanism of this reaction. During this dehydration process, an intermediate carbocation will be formed. Okay, intermediate carbocation will be formed. So since the tertiary carbocation is highly stable, this reaction takes place faster. Okay, so we are not going to study deeper about the reason behind this concept, but the order of the dehydration, the order of the rate of dehydration is tertiary greater than secondary greater than primary. So for sake of knowledge, it's just based on stability of intermediate carbocation. Intermediate carbocation. That is very important. Okay. So that is about dehydration of alcohols, primary, secondary and tertiary, and the rate, the reason. Okay. Now we'll move on to, okay, so far we discussed about monohydric alcohol. Let us move on to dihydric alcohol. In the syllabus, dihydric alcohols. So dihydric alcohols are those which contain 2 hydroxyl group. We are talking specifically about glycol, or it is also ethylene glycol, I'll write the structure of ethylene glycol first. This is glycol or ethylene glycol. The IUPAC name of this molecule is ethane 1,2 diol. This is the correct IUPAC name of this molecule. This is 1, 2. Ethane 1,2 diol is the correct IUPAC name. Now we have to see how we can prepare this molecule using the different chemical reactions. So I'll write how do we prepare this molecule. Preparation. First method means we are preparing this using ethylene 1,2 dibromide. Ethane, okay? Ethane 1,2 dibromo, ethane, both are same. Ethane 1,2 dibromide. So we'll write it here. We have CH2Br. This is 1,2 dibromo ethane. And what we are going to do? We are going to react this. We are going to boil this in aqueous Na2CO3 solution. So what happens? You are going to get plus 2 Br. Okay, and carbon dioxide will be. Okay, so this is the first method of preparation of our ethylene glycol. What we did, we took this ethane 1,2 dibromide or 1,2 dibromoethane. In any case, not an issue. 1,2 dibromoethane is boiled with aqueous sodium carbonate. So you are going to get ethylene glycol. The other method will be the second method, right? You take the same 1,2 dibromoethane and you react this with potassium acetate. You react with potassium acetate. So you are going to get this intermediate compound like CH2O, CO, CH3, CH2O, CO, CH3, and this potassium and bromine will go. So you write 2 KBr. Potassium bromide will be removed. Further, if you hydrolyze this compound, if you add H2O to this compound, hydrolyze like this, you are going to get CH2OH plus 2 molecules of CH3COOH. So I'm coming once again. You take 1,2 dibromoethane, you heat it with potassium acetate, you'll get this intermediate compound. That is, this is ethane 1,2 diacetate. Ethane 1,2 diacetate compound, which upon hydrolysis give ethylene glycol, or glycol is here. Okay. Now what are the uses of this molecule? Let us see. Where do we use? We use as antifreeze in automobile radiator. Because we know that in cold country, because we use water in the radiator of the vehicle, in car engine or in any of the heavy vehicle engine, we use water in the radiator. If the temperature drops 0, the water becomes ice. Then possible that will cause problem to the automobile engines. So what we do, we take 60% ethylene glycol solution and we add it to the radiator. So if you add 60% glycol solution in water, 60% glycol solution in water, that will push, we know that this mixture results in depression in freezing point. So the freezing point shifts of water shifts from 0 degree to minus 49 degree Celsius. So it remains as a liquid in the radiator, that will not become ice, so that is the one advantage. And in aeroplane wings, because since aeroplanes they travel in higher distances, higher altitudes, so especially in cold situation, the formation of ice may occur on the wings of the aeroplane. So in order to avoid that, it will be sprayed on the wings of aeroplane, and it is used as a preservative. Used as a preservative. And fourth one, used as a dielectric. Dielectric in electric condenser. So you need to remember all the 4 points, very important these are. Used as antifreeze for automobile radiator, used in aeroplane wings to avoid the formation of ice, and is used as a preservative and also as a dielectric in electrical components, in the electrical condenser. That is about the uses. Now we'll move on to next sector. Okay, in the next sector what we have preparation of pinacol and pinacolan rearrangement. Okay, now what is pinacol? Pinacol is a 1,2-dihydroxy compound. I'll write the structure of pinacol here. CH3, COH, COH, CH3, CH3, CH3. Okay, so the correct IUPAC name of this molecule is 2,3-dimethyl butane 2,3-diol. So this is pinacol. We write 1, 2, 3, 4. The IUPAC name of this molecule is 2,3-dimethyl butane 2,3-diol. This is the IUPAC name of this molecule. Now how we can prepare this? The preparation, how we can prepare this pinacol in red. I'll write the preparation here. Preparation. How we can prepare this? The first method is using paracids. When alkenes are treated with paracids, what are paracids? See, if you simply write like this, CH3COOH, this is the carboxylic acid. This is acetic acid. If you write the same thing like this, CH3COOH, these are called paracids. Because we know that we have a peroxide linkage here. This is hydrogen peroxide. This ring is called peroxyl linkage. We have same link here, peroxyl link. So those are called peroxides. So what happens? You take an alkene. In this case, we are taking this alkene. Okay, this alkene. That means 2,3-dimethyl but 2-ene. Okay, and we are treating this with paracids. Especially we take this. Okay. Now, since we are adding this perbenzoic acid, this one, you are going to get compound like this. You are going to get an epoxide ring there, because paracids generally develop, they lead to the formation of epoxides. When they react with the alkene system, they form epoxides. When this epoxide is hydrolyzed, when you hydrolyze this epoxide, you are going to get pinacol. Remember, we are not talking about the stereochemistry of the hydroxyl group here. We'll discuss about that concept in the stereochemistry chapter. So for instance, I have written a hydroxyl group on the same side. I am not trying to write any stereochemical orientation of these bonds here. So we got pinochle. The other method will be, you take same alkene and you react with hydrogen peroxide in presence of OSO4. Sometimes you don't even need H2O, I believe. So OSO4, now in this case it is catalyst. OSO4 is also osmium tetroxide, is an excellent oxidizing agent. It also creates diol, but in this case, so reaction of alkene with peroxide in presence of osmium tetroxide catalyst, you are going to get the same compound, the pinochle. Okay, you are going to get the pinochle compound. So this is about the preparation of pinochle. Now we'll see what is pinochle, pinocolan rearrangement. That is in the syllabus. I'll write here. Pinochle, pinocolan rearrangement. Pinochle, pinocolan rearrangement. Now first I'll write the reaction of this pinochle-pinochle rearrangement, and then we'll try to understand the mechanism in detailed steps. What happens if we take pinochle and if we add dilute acid like dilute H2SO4, what happens? This compound rearranges itself to give this compound. Okay, I'll write CH3 only, not to get confused here. CH3, 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 here there is C, there is C. So what are you going to get? CH3, CO, C, CH3, CH3, CH3. You are going to get this compound. That means this compound, pinochle, is converted. In this case, we have a 2-hydroxy group here, alcoholic functional group, is converted into CO, and one of the CH3 is migrated to the other carbon atom. This is a reaction. Now we have to understand how this transformation took place. Okay, how the molecule get rearranged. We have same number of carbon atoms, but there is some sort of rearrangement taking place in this reaction. We will understand that by writing the mechanism. Okay, we will try to write the mechanism for the reaction. I will write the reaction once again here. CH3, COH, CH3, COH, CH3, this is pinochle. When you add H plus to this molecule, you are going to get CH3, CO, CH3, CH3, CH3. Now this is the reaction. We will try to write the mechanism right now for this molecule. The mechanism will be taking place in 4 steps. Take place in 4 steps. Let us try to write them one by one so that we can understand how the reaction is taking place. In the first step, what happens? Protonation of alcohol. Protonation of alcohol. Now what happens? We are providing H plus here. CH3, COH, CH3, COH, CH3, CH3. What happens when you provide H plus? One of the hydroxyl groups gets protonated. It takes up this proton. What happens? It gets protonated. CH3, C, OH, CH3, C. This becomes OH2 plus CH3, CH3. This is the first step. Now, in the second step, what happens? Removal of water. Removal of water molecule from this molecule to form a carbocation. So what happens? I'll write the same molecule here. C, we have OH here, CH3, CH3, C, OH2 plus CH3, CH3, same molecule. What happens? Since this is OH2 plus, this bond breaks like this. Okay, because this oxygen needs its lone pair of electron, it takes the bond electron into its orbital to satisfy its positive charge. Then what happens? You are going to get CH3, COH as it is, CH3, C plus, CH3, CH3. Okay, while going away, see that means H2O is gone, we can write minus H2O here. So while going away, oxygen taken away the bonded electrons, so we got positive charge here. So we got positive charge. Now what happens in the third step? That is migration of methyl group. This is very important, methyl group. I'll write the same carbocation here, CH3, COH as it is, here CH3, and we have C plus CH3, CH3. Okay? Now, what happens? Since there is a positive charge here, the methyl group on the adjacent carbon atom, migrates to this carbon along with bond electrons. Leading to the formation of, see, this is called migration. Migration of methyl group means methyl group from this carbon is going to attach to this carbon. This arrow mark means that this methyl group is migrating from this carbon to this carbon along with the bonded electrons. So what happens? Write CH3, write OH. To this carbon, there were two methyl group earlier. Now there is a new methyl group here. Okay? Since this methyl group migrated from this carbon to this carbon, the positive charges shift from here to here. Because this methyl group is going with this bond electrons to join here. So this carbon gets the positive charge. Now here is a small understanding why there is a shift of methyl group. Because this is a tertiary carbocation which is already stable. What was the necessity of this methyl group to migrate over there? Because see, once if the positive charge is migrated here, this positive charge is now stabilized by the inductive effect, and mesomeric effect. So what happens in the final step? Step 4. Okay. So neutralization of carbocation. And I will show you how the last step occurs. CH3, C, OH plus C, CH3, CH3, CH3. So what happens, there is a positive charge here. We know that oxygen is a plus M group, that is it donates electron because we already studied in the earlier class that if a positive charge is next to a double bond, if a positive charge is next to a compound containing lone pair, it gets balanced. So it means in this case the positive charge, this oxygen donates electron here. Deprotonation. So what happens? It donates here, so you will get compound like this, CH3, C double bond O, and you are going to get CH3, CH3, CH3 plus. Because H is here, there is a new bond formed, pi bond. Finally, deprotonation takes place, minus H plus. This H plus will go. You are going to get CH3, CO, C, CH3, CH3, CH3. Okay? So this is how we are trying to understand. So we got the same product. That is what we discussed. We took pinocol. When you add dilute acid to pinocol, it converts into pinocolone. This is pinocolone. This ketone, the function representing pinocolone means ketone represent. This is pinocol. That means what? All alcoholic group. Okay? So this is the mechanism for the conversion of pinocol into pinocolone. The 4-step mechanism. First step, protonation of alcohol. Second step, dehydration of alcohol to form. This is oxonium ion. Oxonium ion goes, see, it goes out along with bond electrons like this to form a carbocation. The rearrangement takes place. This is why we call rearrangement. Why we use rearrangement? Because there is a change in the pattern of the molecule. This methyl group is changing its position, shifting, but it is not going anywhere else. It is migrating from the same molecule. See, it's intramolecular shifting. Methyl groups migrate to carbocation with a bond pair electron, causing the shift of this positive charge from this carbon to this carbon here. Finally, this carbon, the oxygen donates the lone pair of electron to nullify this positive charge, followed by deprotonation to give pinacolone. So that is about the mechanism of the reaction. Okay, so today in this class we discussed about alcohols, dehydration of alcohols, preparation of ethylene glycol and its uses, and how pinacol can be prepared and its rearrangement. Okay, in the coming class we will discuss about the trihydric alcohol like glycerol. Thank you very much.